A Skiatook couple's 23-year-old son was killed in a DUI head-on crash 2 years ago, and they are still waiting on charges to be filed in the case.
6 months after the crash that killed Clifton Smith, the same driver crossed the center line again and had another head-on crash, and still no charges. Clifton's parents tell me they need that driver to be held accountable. They need justice. Clifton Smith's parents adopted him when he was 18 months old, and they say he was a kind-hearted young man who loved animals and old people. He had some developmental delays, but had a heart filled with kindness for others.
The principal said he was the first kid to school and the last one to get to class, because he would pass by everybody's classroom giving them a present.
A pretend
present.
They say he had a wonderful sense of humor and participated in bowling for Special Olympics. He got his driver's license, graduated high school, worked at Walmart pushing carts, and then got his dream vehicle, this orange 1972 Chevy truck.
That's perfect. That's his statement at the end of the day. Did you have a nice day? Almost every time when he'd get home, what would he say? I got 2 thumbs up going down Main Street today.
Clifton was driving his pride and joy on November 4th of 2021, going to a friend's house, when OHP says Jacob Gilmartin was driving high, going fast, crossed the center line, and slammed head-on into Clifton in his bright orange truck. Clifton's parents couldn't get a hold of him, and the highway just a few miles from their house was closed for a wreck. So fearing the worst, they headed that way.
Right here at this intersection is where everything played out for us. This is as far as they would let us come.
They could see the flashing lights, and the Life 360 app showed Clifton's phone had been on that highway for hours. So they waited for the news they knew was coming, but prayed would not.
And he said, "Sir, I'm sorry to inform you, but your son has expired." And there was a lot of blank spots after that with both of us.
For sure.
Can't remember a lot of things that happened after that.
Their boy was gone, and they had a lot of questions about who and why and what would be done about it.
But witnesses say that coming up this hill right here, he was jumping from lane to lane, running cars off the road. As you can see here, they got room to get off the road. Well, then he comes over this hill here and sees my son's orange truck. I guess that's his target.
He took a big, important part of our life. I'll never get to see him do the things that other people do. Maybe he, get married, maybe kids. I won't be a grandma now.
OHP's report says Gilmartin was high at the time of that crash. He was booked into jail but released after 60 days when the Cherokee courts didn't file any charges. And no charges have been filed in federal court either. At the time, Gilmartin was on a suspended sentence in Osage County for having a gun as a felon and drugs. 6 months after the crash that killed Clifton, OHP says Gilmartin once again crossed the center line and slammed head-on into another driver. This time, it was a dump truck, and that driver wasn't injured, but Gilmartin was, ending up with a traumatic brain injury. His family set up a GoFundMe account and raised money for him, and they documented his recovery on TikTok.
I'm about to have a cranioplasty done on my forehead.
On a page called Jacob's TB Journey that has more than 280,000 followers. Clifton's family is sorry for Gilmartin's injury, but they believe if he's well enough to be a husband and a father and make videos on social media, he's well enough to be prosecuted.
I'm doing really good, and my baby is doing great also.
What would you like to see happen? What do you think needs to happen?
He needs to be convicted and sent to jail. You want justice, and he deserves justice. Clifton deserves justice.
Jacob Gilmartin's family says their hearts go out to the Smith family, and they share in the Smith's sorrow for the accident caused by Jacob. And they are also frustrated with the justice system, and that Jacob was released with no bail and no charges. They believe had Jacob been charged after the crash that killed Clifton, then perhaps Jacob would not have been out driving 6 months later and involved in that second crash that resulted in Jacob's brain injury that changed his life forever. They say Jacob is confined to a different kind of prison, one defined by his limitations and the support he now needs for basic tasks. They say they stand united with the Smith family in their grief and anger, and they understand their desire for a more just resolution and a thorough examination of the legal proceedings that have unfolded in this case. I did contact the Cherokee Nation and the U.S. Attorney's Office about why charges haven't been filed. The Cherokee Nation says they have been in contact with their state and federal law enforcement partners from the beginning, and they remain confident that justice will be done. The U.S. Attorney's Office told me they can't comment on open cases.